If you've been looking to get into the Mazda CX-60 but you've found it out of your budget, then Mazda has come up with the solution. It's introducing a more affordable version powered by a 2.5 litre petrol engine. We're taking a look at the Mazda CX-60 Pure. It's the new entry-level model to the CX-60 range. It's available for $47,990 drive away. This one is rear-wheel drive compared to the rest of the range, which is all-wheel drive. Let's take it for a spin. So while you might not get all of the bells and whistles that you find further up the range, Mazda's done a great job at making this car interesting at this price point. There's no heated and ventilated seats like you get further up the range, and the seat, well, it's a manually adjustable one, but I don't have a problem with that. It's actually quicker if there's two drivers jumping in and out of a vehicle to adjust the seat to your preferences, so that's fine. There's a cloth seat in this car, which is actually really attractive, but we've got black on black on black throughout the cabin. There's a little bit of chrome trim here, and it does feel a little bit dark. So thankfully we've got this light headliner, which means that, particularly in the back where it's a little bit more squeezy, it does feel lighter and airy. And in terms of infotainment, well, you're not getting the large colour touchscreen that a lot of manufacturers favour. So you've got the relatively analog feel of a system which is driven by a rotary dial and no touchscreen while you're driving. There's still some good technology options, including wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and also embedded satellite navigation, which you don't always find on newer vehicles. One fairly obvious omission is the lack of a wireless phone charger. It's pretty much de rigueur in most new vehicles. There is a 12-volt socket up front. There's a couple of USB-Cs in the center console here, but it does feel like you're lacking the opportunity just to chuck your phone in and go. But in this entry model, you're not getting the same level of safety as you'll find further up the range. So have a look at that spec sheet and make sure that you're aware of exactly what you may be missing out on if you choose the Pure. Let's move to the second row. This is a mid-size SUV, so it's likely to be considered by families. I've got the seat in a position that a 6-footer would probably have it in, and there's a reasonable amount of leg room, but not heaps. The rear seat does have the option to have a slight recline. This one's at the recline at the moment, so it's relatively comfortable. I've got vent controls here, but there's no control of the temperature, but that's fine. That's kind of what to expect at this price point. Overall, I'm relatively comfortable, but I think anybody a bit bigger than me might struggle a little bit on space, but it's certainly not cramped. While the second row is a little bit compromised on space, as you can see, there's plenty of room in the boot. It's not quite as big as the CX-5s. This is 477 litres versus 522 in the CX-5, but there is at least still room for a temporary spare wheel. And this is a really important feature. It keeps you going on the road and is preferable to an inflator kit, which is a little bit trickier to use should you have a puncture. Mazda says the reason it's introducing this more affordable model to its range is because buyers are telling them that they want to get into the CX-60, but it has to be at a better price. And it's definitely more competitive. It's an attractive price compared to some of the newer brands coming to market. And while you are making a gain when it comes to the price point, you are losing fairly significantly in performance compared to that impressive 6-cylinder engine that Mazda offers higher up the range. And while you do gain in terms of dollar savings when you choose the 2.5 litre engine, you're not making significant savings when it comes to either emissions or fuel economy. The fuel economy on this vehicle is claimed at 7.5 litres per 100k. We've seen around about 8.5 litres up to 9 litres on our drive during this launch. We have had some issues with the transmission on test drive. It's not particularly smooth, and there's been a couple of times when it's exhibited a rather unnerving clunk. It's a little bit jittery. That's a criticism that Mazda's faced previously on this vehicle, so have they ironed out those issues? I'm not so sure. But the ride is smooth, the suspension is pretty competent. So while you may be saving dollars at the dealership, you may be losing out when it comes to the petrol pump. This car uses a fair bit more fuel than the best-selling medium SUV, which is the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. That being said, this is a stylish offering, and the exterior design, well, that's something that Mazda says really appeals to its buyers. But I found the new engine and transmission combination in the CX-60 somewhat compromised. I think if you're looking at this car and it fits within your budget, then take it for a solid test drive and judge for yourself.